Good morning, everybody, and I hope you can hear me over the wind. It's particularly breezy, and I've come down today to Rubble Beach, so called because, as you can probably see from what I'm walking on, this is where the remains of hundreds of buildings from Liverpool were dumped after the Blitz of 1941. I have done a couple of videos from here before, but I've come down here today with a specific purpose. So I'm just going to get set up, and I'll tell you what we're going to be doing. That's if I don't break my ankle first, of course. Of course, because a good, 70% of all this rubble down here is bricks, and of course they've all got holes in them. It gives people the opportunity to make sculptures, if you want to call them that, just like that one. Interesting. Well, I've come down here, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. I've timed it so we got an incoming tide, high tide in about an hour's time, I think. And I've come down because I want to test the K&F Concept variable ND filter, which goes from ND8 to ND128. So just let me get this set up on the tripod, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So I'm just set up here to take a photograph with that sculpture in the foreground. Sculpture, he said. And the marker post in the background. Straight exposure, no filtration whatsoever. So I've got a sort of baseline. And the exposure at ISO 200 is a 6/40th f7.1. So with the use of a neutral density filter, I have to say I'm not sure whether I need to dub this when I get back home and do a separate voiceover, because the wind is really quite strong. However, we'll carry on and persevere. The whole idea in a location like this is to get movement in the water, at least from my point of view. So what I'm going to do now is to make a different composition. I want to get some of the waves in the foreground, so I'm going to go closer to the actual shoreline, and set up probably in vertical format. If I can help it, I do not want to get the wind turbines in shot in the background. I'd much rather have the marker post and the mountains of North Wales beyond. Mountains, he said, hills of North Wales beyond. So we're going to do that now, and I'll catch up with you when it's set up, ready to go. Okay, hopefully you can see that we've got the filter attached. It is one of the K&F Concept magnetic range. So it just literally falls onto the lens, onto a metal ring holder, which can live on the lens permanently. And then because it is variable, it kind of locks in place, which is really good. And it goes from the minimum, in this case ND8, and we can rotate it up to the maximum of ND128. So I'm going to take 2 or 3 shots now. The idea of the exercise, it's not so much about getting keepers and competition winners. This is about testing the filter, because I want to make sure it doesn't give too strong a colour cast. Ideally, it shouldn't give any colour cast. In theory, that's true. In practice, we'll have to wait and see. So now I've reframed, just waiting for some waves to come in, and we will see what we get. Exposure wise, we're down to a 500th at 3.2. I'm going to close the lens down. F8. Something like 100th at F8. Okay, so that's that. I am now going to close it down to its maximum, ND 128. Keep the aperture the same. So with regard to this outing, if you like, it's not about getting great compositions. It should be interesting enough. The main thing is I want to prove to myself that you don't get horrendous colour casts when you're using this ND filter, variable ND filter. And before I get overrun by the tide, I'm going to fit another ND filter over the front of this variable one. That's really going to test things. Well, now I'm being really unfair to K&F Concept because the separate ND filter I've fitted is from a different manufacturer. So if there are colour casts now as compared to just before with the single variable ND, then we can lay the blame squarely onto the other manufacturer's filter. So I need to reset now. I've had to move the camera already because the tide's coming in quite quickly now. Something you do need to be aware of, I'm using the 12 to 40 lens and it's set to 12mm. So that's 24mm equivalent on a full frame camera. You need to be aware of vignetting, particularly when you fit more than one filter onto the front of the lens. I'm using it at 12mm right now, and I'm pretty damn sure I have got vignetting because I've got the ND8 and then the variable ND filter on front of that. But it's something that we can usually either cure by cropping or by eliminating in editing. Gosh, so from the lee of the lifeboat station office down here on the seafront, I'm out of the wind. It's not particularly cold, it must be 18 degrees, but it's a pretty brisk wind today. And I've cut the video fairly short because I don't have much time. I need to be at the doctor's later on today. So forgive me for it being a short one, but the intention really, forget the compositions and all the rest of it, it's to test out the quality of the K&F Concept variable ND filter to see whether it gives any noticeable colour casts or not. I hope it's good, but good or bad, I'll give you my honest assessment. And as usual, thank you K&F Concept, very much appreciated. This all came about really following my deliberation as to whether to go for an EM1 Mark III with the built-in ND filters. And I thought to myself, there's nothing wrong with my Mark II, so why invest all that money when we can do the same thing just by carrying an extra bit of circular glass. Anyway, enough waffling. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.